Origin stories are powerful. They tell us why we are the way we are. Humans, superheroes, villains, everyone has an origin story, as do nations. And today, we will tell you one. The origin story of a cultural mammoth called South Korea. Its creative rise came from its lowest point. After the Korean War of the 1950s, South Korea was emerging from abject poverty. But by the turn of the century, it had come a long way. It was going to become an electronic success story. That's when South Korea suffered a second blow. The economic crash of 1997. Seoul was forced to ask the IMF for a bailout, a loan of $60 billion. It is still known as the Day of National Humility. Collective sacrifices were made to pay off the debt. Ordinary citizens donated wedding rings to help the cause. This was an emotional low point. That's when Seoul made up its mind. It wanted to turn things around. South Korea needed national rebranding. So the government took cultural identity and turned it into an exportable commodity. And Hallyu was born. Hallyu refers to the Korean wave. The phenomenal growth of Korean pop culture, from K-pop to K-beauty, film to food. Today, culture is one of South Korea's largest exports. It has helped the nation become Asia's fourth biggest economy and cemented its credentials as a cultural superpower. So how did South Korea pull this off? Are there lessons for other countries here? That's what we'll discuss tonight, but first a primer on Korean pop culture. Gen Alpha may cringe at this, but for late millennials, this was an iconic moment. Gangnam Style. This earworm of a song wriggled its way across the world, making history as the first YouTube video with 1 billion views, leaving its viewers galloping and asking for more. This breakthrough smoothened the road for K-pop, or Korean pop music. And today, this industry is massive. Bands like BTS and Blackpink have conquered the world. BTS reportedly adds about $4 billion to the South Korean economy every year. K-pop is practically the biggest part of South Korean content industry, which hit a record high in 2021. It was worth $12.4 billion. It dwarfed earnings from home appliances and vehicles, something South Korea was once popular for. But things do not end with K-pop. Korean dramas and films are big business as well. 4 years ago, Parasite won an Oscar. 3 years ago, Squid Game became the most watched show on Netflix. Now, Korean gold rush has arrived. Netflix is investing $2.5 billion in South Korean projects. Disney and Apple TV are commissioning more Korean shows, so everyone wants a piece, and especially when it comes to Korean food. Korean cuisine is penetrating global markets. It is worth $77 billion. Meanwhile, K-beauty is the latest rage. Hordes of tourists are flocking to South Korea to buy cosmetics like snail mucin and face masks. The K-beauty market is expected to be worth $18 billion by 2030. South Korean culture is a big hit, but how did the country do it? Through a near-perfect marriage between public and private effort. You see, after the IMF crisis, the then Korean president threw money at the content industry. This laid its foundation. So credit where it's due. But just as the government pushed funding, private players stepped in. They poured billions of dollars into creative industries, and this boosted the industry. Of course, like most relationships, this one hasn't always been hunky-dory, like in the 2010s, when a conservative government was in power. It blacklisted singers, actors, and writers and deprived many big names of funding. But in most cases, the government takes a backseat. It provides loans, tax breaks, and investment, while private players get the creative control. And now the Korean wave shows no signs of stopping. Many say the next big thing is literature. There is growing demand to learn the Korean language. Language courses are seeing a rise in enrollments from overseas. South Korea wants to tap into this too. It wants to export stories, share them with the world, which makes us wonder, don't we all? Every nation has powerful stories. Most nations would want to share them. The key is to figure out how. As they say, heroes are made by the path they choose, not the powers they're graced with.